Okay, so let's get right into it. Think about this. Right now, inside your body, there's this incredible silent communication system running the show. It's coordinating pretty much everything, and it does it all without a single wire. It's a network that sends messages that can literally shape your mood, your growth, and even how you sleep.
So, how in the world does it pull that off? How does your brain tell your adrenal glands to freak out when you're stressed? Or signal to your whole body that it's time to wind down for sleep? All with perfect timing. Well, that's the big question, and the answer is this amazing thing called the endocrine system.
See, our bodies have two main ways of sending messages over long distances. You've got the nervous system, that's the super fast wired network. It uses electrical signals that zip along neurons for quick, specific commands. But we're here to talk about the other system, the endocrine system. Just think of it as your body's wireless network. It uses chemical messengers that travel through the bloodstream.
And that brings us to the whole concept of this wireless network. The real power here is that it sends its messages through this incredible internal highway system. Yep, your bloodstream.
This comparison really lays it all out. The nervous system is all about speed. It's like sending a direct text message. Boom, it's there in milliseconds. Does its one specific job and it's over. The endocrine system, though, that's more like a radio broadcast. It's way slower, taking seconds or even days for the message to have an effect. But that signal goes out everywhere, affecting tons of different cells for a much, much longer time.
So, if the endocrine system is like a radio station, what's it broadcasting? Well, that's where we get to the language it speaks, these little chemical messengers we call hormones.
So, what exactly is a hormone? The simplest way to think about it is as chemical mail. A gland is like a post office that drops a chemical letter into the bloodstream. This letter then travels all over the body, but here's the thing, it can only be opened and read by very specific recipients.
And that brings us to the delivery system, which is just brilliant. A hormone can't just talk to any random cell it bumps into. No way. The target cell needs to have the exact right mailbox for that specific message. If a cell doesn't have that mailbox, the hormone just floats right on by, totally ignored.
Now, that mailbox has a scientific name, of course. It's called a receptor. And each receptor is shaped to fit one and only one specific hormone. It's a perfect lock and key system. This is so important because it makes sure that the hormone for sleep, like melatonin, doesn't accidentally tell your stomach to start digesting food.
But get this, our cells aren't just passive. They can actually change how sensitive they are to a hormone. If a cell wants to listen more closely, it can add more receptors. That's called upregulation. Or, if it's getting totally bombarded by a signal, it can remove receptors to tune it out. That's downregulation. It's like having a volume knob for hormones.
Okay, so we've got the messages and the mailboxes. Now let's take a quick tour of the factories that are making all these hormones, the endocrine glands. And as you can see, these hormone factories are located all over the body. You've got the pituitary and pineal glands deep inside your brain, the thyroid in your neck, the adrenal glands that sit right on top of your kidneys, and each one has its own special job to do to keep you in balance.
What's really interesting is that there are two types of glands. You have the primary glands, like the thyroid. They're specialists. Their main job is making hormones. Then you have organs like your heart and your kidneys, which are secondary glands. They have other day jobs, but they also moonlight as hormone producers, which just shows you how deeply this system is woven into everything your body does.
All right, let's look at a really cool example to see how this all plays out in real life. We'll start with melatonin, your body's personal sleep switch. Let's see how your brain even knows when it's bedtime.
This whole pathway is just brilliant. During the day, light comes into your eyes and sends a signal to your brain that basically slams the brakes on melatonin production. But when it gets dark, that brake is released. The pineal gland gets the green light and starts pumping out melatonin, which is the signal to your entire body that it's time to get sleepy. So it all boils down to this super simple rule. More light means less melatonin. Less light means more melatonin. It's this elegant, automatic switch that's tied directly to the world around us.
And this has a huge impact on our modern lives, right? Ever had jet lag? That's just your melatonin cycle being totally confused and out of sync with the new time zone. And what about the blue light from our phones and laptops at night? Well, that light is tricking our brain into thinking it's still daytime, so it keeps the brakes on melatonin, making it way harder to fall asleep.
Now, let's check out another incredible hormone, one that takes us from sleep cycles to our social lives. It's time to talk about oxytocin, which people often call the bonding hormone. A classic example of oxytocin in action is during childbirth. It's a perfect showcase of something called a positive feedback loop. The baby's head pushes on the cervix, which sends a nerve signal to the brain saying, release oxytocin. That oxytocin causes stronger contractions, which pushes the baby's head even harder, which tells the brain to release even more oxytocin. The cycle just keeps amplifying itself until the baby is born.
But oxytocin's job goes so far beyond childbirth. As this quote says, it's a huge player in human bonding and those feelings we associate with love. It's not just a physical thing, it's tied directly to our emotions.
This is where we see it in our everyday lives. Oxytocin is released during acts of closeness and touch, like a simple hug. It helps create that powerful emotional bond between a parent and a child and between partners. It literally helps cement our social connections. So when you step back and look at the big picture, it's pretty incredible. From managing your sleep with melatonin to building the deep bonds of love with oxytocin, this silent wireless network is constantly working in the background, conducting this beautiful, complex symphony that is your life. And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to chew on. The philosopher Descartes once called the pineal gland, the little gland that makes our melatonin, the seat of the soul. So if these invisible chemical messengers are so powerful that they guide our sleep, our stress, and even our feelings of love, it really makes you wonder who or what is actually in control.